though, is much more about just adaptability. Keeping in mind it's about exploitation. They're wanting to get an insider's position so that they can seemingly be someone that you can trust and as someone who's just like you, but then behind the scenes there lurks an agenda that you just don't know about yet. Now, before we get a little bit further with that, I do want to make you aware that below the videos we have some links to some books that I'd like for you to check into. One is one of my books, The Anger Trap. Now, these folks can make you rather angry, can't they? Another is When Pleasing You is Killing Me. And then another book is Laura Carranza's book, Ugly Love. And so if you check into those, you might find them to be very helpful in your library. And then we'd also invite you to subscribe to our network so that we can let you know when new videos come out and keep you up to date with all of that. Now, let's take a look at how chameleon narcissists tend to work and how they tend to get in right up next to you without you even realizing that something may be going on. One of the first things we want to recognize is that chameleons typically will come on in a real strong, friendly, helpful kind of way. Now, this may be in a romantic setting when you're just dating someone and they're wanting to impress you. And by the way, it tends to go very quickly because they can't keep up the facade forever. It may be in a business sense where they're trying to buddy up next to you and keeping in mind they don't look for relationships, they're looking for assets, and that's what they're doing. But again, it doesn't appear to be that way. It might be in organizations or in social circles. Now, family relations are a little bit different. You can see some of the chameleon-like behavior that, let's say, a father or mother or an aunt or an uncle has, and you've known them for decades. And so theirs may be a little bit different. It's like they're one way in private and an entirely different way in public. But typically, the charm, the friendship, the pleasantness can be there. But eventually, as you get to know that person, there's going to be now, let's see what you can do for me. Let's see how you can help me out. And that leads to some other kind of thoughts. Typically, even though you don't know it right up front, the chameleon narcissist has some sort of angle they're getting at. In a dating situation, typically it's sex. Or in business, it's like, well, I'm wanting to be the nicest person you ever saw. There's a whole bunch of stuff about me you don't need to know. But I want to get money or some sort of deal or some sort of alliance. Or it may be that they're looking for social status and they're looking to climb a ladder in some sort of an organization, whether it's in business or other kinds of things. There's always an angle. They want to make sure that they're with the right person for their needs and their desires in the moment. That's what their angle is. Another thing that we can commonly say that's as a tactic of the chameleon narcissist is they tend to do up front a good deal of mirroring behavior. Now, what I mean by that is, let's suppose that I say to that chameleon narcissist, I enjoy playing tennis. And the chameleon can say, well, you know what? I've always liked tennis. That fascinates me. And I've played some, but I really want to do it a lot more. When in fact, they don't really care. Or it may be that somebody says, I enjoy the opera. And the chameleon can say, yeah, opera's really cool. When in fact, they've never been to one. Or they roll their eyes when they get an invitation to go there. But to you, they'll say whatever they need to say so that they can get on the inside with you. And so many times these individuals can give the impression that they're agreeable, that they like what you like, that they're into whatever it is you're into. Sometimes the chameleon narcissist can appear to be empathetic. Now, let's remember that one of the defining features of narcissism is that they have a lack of empathy. Bottom line is they care so much about themselves that they don't have a whole lot of room to expend emotional energy on you. But when they're in this chameleon mode and they're trying to get their inroad with you, they can come across as if they do care. Like, wow, I really like that that's something that you enjoy. Tell me more. Or it seems as though that's something that means a lot to you, and I can tell that that's really important. Give me an idea of how you learned how to think this way or feel this way, or how that interest came about in your life. You know, they can ask questions like that, and you can think, that person's really into me. It sounds kind of nice. But again, over time, it shows itself to be a ruse. Sometimes, now this is not often, but every now and then, the chameleon narcissist may actually make themselves to be vulnerable. let's suppose that they have something in their deep history that if you find out about it, then it may change your opinion of them. So, in an attempt to get ahead of the posse, they may speak to that. For example, they may say something like, "Yeah, I had a really bad breakup in a relationship, and I wound up cheating on my partner, and man, it just didn't turn out to be good. And I went to all sorts of therapy, and I went to recovery groups and things like that. And so I've been a really different person." So they might have to say things like that, but again, it's not because they like talking about themselves, but it's like, well, you're going to find out. So if I can put a spin on it first and get the upper hand, then that's what I'm going to try to do. Or it may be that they had a history with addictions, or it could be that they've been through a divorce, or maybe they've got some things in their family of origin that weren't all that terrific, or maybe they had some business strain and difficulty. So they'll talk with you in a seemingly vulnerable way to let you know, yeah, I'm human. And in fact, it may impress you that they would be willing to do so, because sometimes when you have that vulnerability, it implies a desire to truly have a sense of intimacy, and